Donald Trump has asked a court to stop the FBI from reviewing items agents seized from his Florida home. The former US president has also called for the Justice Department to give him more information on exactly what they took. In a statement released this morning, he said law enforcement is a shield that protects Americans. It cannot be used as a weapon for political purposes. Joining me live is former White House Chief of Staff and Senior Fellow at the US Studies Centre, Mick Mulvaney. Good to see you. Donald Trump seems to be, and this is our perspective from afar, using what's happened at Mar-a-Lago to his political advantage at the moment.
Oh, sure. That doesn't surprise anybody over here. That's what any politician would do under the circumstances. I think the two requests today, Laura, were very interesting. He asked for a special master to be appointed. It's not uncommon under our legal system. And what it effectively does is ask the court to declare a third person responsible for the documents so that the FBI doesn't control the documents they took out of Mar-a-Lago. I think the implication here is the Trump team doesn't trust the FBI, which probably surprises no one. They also asked for a more specific receipt of the materials taken. This is very interesting because the information that was given originally was very sort of generic. It was literally a box of documents or a folder of documents or a binder of documents without any detail as to what was taken. For example, we learned after the fact that the president's passports were taken during the FBI raid, even though that level of specificity was not given on the receipt. So generally speaking, this is probably done to slow things down and probably will slow things down. But the general undercurrent is the president doesn't trust the FBI, and yes, he will use that to his political advantage.
Yeah, it certainly seems so. And there's no better example of just how influential Donald Trump is in parts of America than, I guess, Liz Cheney and the result there.
Yeah, she got killed. She really did. I think she was lost by about 30 percentage points. There was really no doubt about that election to begin with. This was the number one target of President Trump going into the primaries before our November midterms, and it's a huge scalp for him to claim. It's a huge victory for him. She has been a thorn in his side from the very beginning. She, similar to him, is using it to her political advantage now. She has announced the formation of a PAC, a political action committee, used to try and prevent Donald Trump from being president and possibly electing her president. The bottom line here, she's going to run for president in 2024 and is going to use, I think, $7 million that she raised to run for her midterm seat, or excuse me, for her congressional seat for this future run for presidential office.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see Sarah Palin back in the mix as well. What does that tell us about the state of US politics at the moment?
That's an interesting race. Alaska's a very, very small place. I think there were, and I'm not making this up, several dozen people on the ballot in that race. Maybe as many as 60. It's been a while since I looked at it. And Sarah Palin has huge name recognition, so it's not at all unusual that a famous person would clear the field in a very small state, in a very crowded field. So, yes, it looks like Sarah Palin is going back to Washington, D.C. For all the entertainment value that offers.
Yes, certainly. Still, as is the case right around the world, the cost of living, interest rates going up, inflation, this weighs on people's minds daily. That thrown into the mix in a midterm election, it's who can convince people that their life will be better off with them than without them is who gets over the line, isn't it?
It is. It's the old Ronald Reagan claim of, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? That's what he ran on in the second term. It's sort of what I wish Donald Trump had run under on his campaign in 2020. But yeah, economics drives most of our domestic politics. I get a lot of questions in the Australian media about foreign policy and so forth, and it's very interesting to us here in the United States, but no one votes on it. People vote their pocketbook here, something that Bill Clinton figured out very famously by saying, it's the economy, stupid, and he's absolutely right. Folks will vote their pocketbooks. Inflation is down a little bit. Gas prices are down. Food prices are still up. The Federal Reserve meets in Wyoming this week, and we'll see some indication from them as to what they propose to do about inflation and interest rates. But certainly the economy is still driving our midterm election, which is now less than 3 months away.
I thought it was interesting just before we let you go that Anthony Fauci is going to step down as the top infectious disease expert in the United States. I think he'll do that in December. That's a real symbol to me that the world is moving on from COVID with Anthony Fauci stepping down. I mean, he was so recognisable during the pandemic.
He's stepping down. He's 50 years of government service, one of the longest serving folks in our federal government, but is also stepping down with the single largest pension retirement plan in the history of the federal government. He'll be earning over $400,000 a year in retirement, in addition to all the money that he will make speaking and so forth. So he's a very controversial figure here. He is charged, along with President Trump, as one of the leading factors in the politicization of the COVID response, of challenging the president during the 2020 election. So he will certainly leave Washington as a controversial figure, which will probably just increase his value on the open market after he's retired.
It is funny how that happens, isn't it? Mick Mulvaney, great to talk to you. We'll check in soon.
Thanks, Laura.